More heat on Trump world. Tonight, we know, in addition to the Manhattan DA, the New York Attorney General is also looking directly into the CFO of the Trump Organization. This is no longer just potentially civil, but also potentially criminal. The state's dig into Alan Weisselberg's taxes is a criminal investigation. It's been going on for months. That's in addition to the news that we broke here last night that the AG's questions about Trump lying about the value of his properties has moved from civil to criminal. Is this just heat, or is there going to be light? Let's go to somebody who knows the office, the players, and what it would take to be successful in a prosecution like this. Former Assistant New York Attorney General Tristan Snell, who did go after Trump effectively. Good to see you.
Good to be back, Chris.
So on the outside, when you look at this, it's these white-collar crime things. It's so hard to get anybody. There's so much paper. There's so many people in between. You have to show intent where maybe there was none. Maybe Trump doesn't even know. How hard is this?
This can be difficult. You obviously have the numerical misrepresentations allegedly that were made, but then the defense to that is we screwed up. We didn't know. It was an accident. Somebody prepared the one document, other people prepared the other one. The right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing, et cetera, et cetera. Being able to show that it was actually a knowing or intentional act, that's what's going to level this up from being civil to criminal. But let's get one thing straight. The civil investigation itself is a very big deal. It could cause huge economic penalties, with restitution being paid to the parties involved, with penalties being paid to the state. That alone is a big deal. If it goes criminal, then we're talking imprisonment.
Right.
And if you're going to get that, then you need to get emails, you need to get testimony, you need to get something else to corroborate the numerical misrepresentations themselves.
So the outside theory is the CFO always knows everything. And you squeeze the CFO, and he or she has to give up the goods about the other people that you're asking about. In this case, the CFO is Weisselberg. The risk is that if you're on him too hard, Trump says, yeah, you're right. It was Weisselberg, but it wasn't me.
Right. Right. That's the risk there, is that then that Trump will just scapegoat Weisselberg, say, yep, Alan did everything. I had nothing to do with it. He went rogue. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was thinking. He lost it. He was never that good to begin with. That would be the Trump line.
Now,
to say,
here's the one.
He was never that good.
Here's the one avenue of exposure. The only time people learned about Weisselberg up to this point, heretofore, as we say in the law, was about the payments to the women and how it was done. Michael Cohen, the former bagman, had always said Weisselberg knew, Trump knew. And then on this show, we got a piece of tape that certainly showed that he was right about Trump. And here it is.
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David, so that I'm going to do that right away. I've actually come up and I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with funding. Yes, and it's all the stuff, because you never know where that company, you never know where he's going to be. Correct. So I'm all over that. And I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be.
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So no. I got no.
This is about how to pay. The Inquirer guy. The financing was Cohen trying to be sophisticated. Trump is like, what's financing? He says, well, we're going to have to pay him at some point. And he said, we'll pay cash. So you got Weisselberg not on that call, but Trump's certainly aware of what was happening. But that's not enough.
No, that's not enough. I mean, the kicker is a lot of it's going to be, let's just say, things like meeting notes. if you had meeting notes and somebody took down notes about what Trump said in a meeting and you can actually prove when the notes were taken, there's an exception to the hearsay rule called a present sense impression. And if you can show that the notes were taken contemporaneously with the thing occurring and somebody wrote down notes about what Trump said, that in theory can be something that's admissible. But let's just be clear about one thing here. If this is going criminal, if the AG's office believes that there's enough here to open a criminal probe, that is a tell that they have something that they believe allows it to go criminal. They would not be wasting their time and wasting the time of the people in the criminal division, and which is a very small elite unit of folks who focus on predominantly white-collar crime and political corruption. Those are the two big beats that they cover. You're not going to waste those folks' time unless you really have something that popped up during the civil investigation.
0 to 10, what's the chance that you think a charge comes down on Trump? 10 is yes.
I'd say a 9. I just don't think it'll be by Christmas. I think it's going to be next year, but I might be wrong about that.
Tristan Snell.
I think it's going to be 22.
All right, Tristan Snell. Hopefully we'll still be alive. Lord willing, we'll have the conversation then. Dr. Anthony Fauci is back with us tonight.
Absolutely.
Because he said something that we need to understand more. When he says people are misinterpreting the mask guidance, what does that mean? Next.